world is safe. Alduin is dead.
And I did not doubt you for 1 minute, my lord. You are the Dragonborn, the savior of Skyrim, my rescuer, my champion, and my best friend. They will shout your name across meat halls, great and small, now until the end of time.
And they will shout your name as well, Zora. You're my best friend as well, but I'd like to be more. I'm the Dragonborn, your rescuer, and your champion, but I'm not your friend. We almost just lost her. She almost died to a group of necromancers. If there was ever any time to tell someone how you feel, it's now. I'd like to be more.
You would? Now that is a surprise. The handsome knight falling for the damaged princess.
Aww.
Life is not a fairy tale, my prince. Yet I have always dreamed that one day it might be.
See, this is just really sweet. What will you do now?
I don't know. I'd probably settle down in Riverwood and enjoy the peace and quiet. I once traded an army of suitors for a suit of armor, but right now, I don't want either of them.
Oh? And what does my Thane want?
I want to take off this sweaty thing and put on a summer gown, then lie down in a bed of flowers near the bank of the White River. But you never know. Maybe one day a traveler might come along. Handsome but not pretty. Strong but not scary. Friendly but not creepy. Confident but not arrogant. Kind but firm. A true hero, but not like you. There will never be another like you, my Dragonborn. So, when we meet, I will tell this handsome hero to find another companion. For I am forever yours.
See, that's really sweet.
Until next time.
That's incredibly sweet. I assume we need an amulet tomorrow. Because that's always how it goes. But, Gord, did you just step in the trap? Wait, or did she step in a trap? Who stepped in a bear trap? You did. And you just walked it off like it was nothing. Alright, let's find that amulet tomorrow and then we'll meet up with you back in Riverwood.
Well met.
Oh, that's very forward. I mean, I guess she just was very, very sweet with us, so being forward makes sense. I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Truly? My prince wishes to marry?
Imagine, it's like, nah, let's stay friends. Yes, let's get married.
Then we must hurry to Riften, my lord. After all we have been through, I cannot wait a second longer to pledge my love to you.
Aw. I'm a sucker for a love story. I'm a sucker for stuff like this. I'm a big softie. And I think it's especially sweet because she does talk about, it's like, oh, I didn't think anyone would want me because of the scar. Like, despite all her jokes, it's to cover up the insecurities. So, to me, it's like her romance, or her, yeah, I guess you would call it her romance, is, to me, one of my favorite options in the entire mod. Because it's showing her that she doesn't have to be worried about that. She doesn't have to think that she's worth less, like, as a person because of it. Now, fun fact, you don't have to do any quests with Zora in order to unlock her marriage. The only thing you have to have completed is one dialogue. One dialogue with her based on a location and having defeated Alduin. You don't need to have completed her quests, you don't need to have done pit dogs or anything at all. But I think it makes more sense if you do finish those quests first. You know, you help with her sister, you save her from the whole pit dog situation. So I think the timing now makes the most sense.
Welcome back to the temple, messenger.
I'd like to have a wedding at the temple.
You wish to be married? It's good to see love blossoming even during these difficult times. Your wedding will be held tomorrow, from dawn until dusk.
Define tomorrow, because it's already the middle of the
night.
night.
Don't want to miss your own wedding.
Define tomorrow, because it's 6 a.m. Like, do I wait an hour? Or do I wait 24, 25 hours? I mean, to plan a wedding to get everyone out here in an hour, that would be a little ridiculous. So, you know. Probably have to wait till the next day. But we'll see.
They say Ulfric Stormcloak murdered the High King.
You must buy it to get it.
Okay, I did have to wait until the next day. Makes sense.
That is...
Ah, here's the proud groom now. Let's begin the ceremony.
We're both just wearing our armor.
First gave birth to all of creation and pledged to watch over us as her children. It is from her love of us that we first learned to love one another. It is from this love that we learn that a life lived alone is no life at all. We gather here today under Mara's loving gaze to bear witness to the union of two souls in eternal companionship. May they journey forth together in this life and in the next, in prosperity and poverty, and in joy and hardship. Do you agree to be bound together in love, now and forever?
I do, now and forever.
Do you agree to be bound together in love, now and forever?
I do, now and forever.
Under the authority of Mara, the divine of love, I declare this couple to be wed.
Hey, everyone sit
I
down.
present the two of you with these matching rings, blessed by Mara's divine grace. May they protect each of you in your new life together.
So, my husband, what shall we do now? Ride some caves? Find a place to live? A warm fire?
Oh, and she left. Wait. Zora, come back.
Ours is to
So,
smile at your
my
passing.
husband, what shall we do now? Ride some caves? Find a place to live? A warm fire and a warm bed would be nice.
We'll set a home. Let's live in my house in Solitude. Let's live in my house in Windhelm. My house in Markarth, Riften, Whiterun. Let's do Solitude.
A good choice, my husband. A house overlooking the sea of ghosts. Maybe I will take up singing as well. They might confuse me with a torturer.
I'll see you there. Oh, and now she has other conversation topics. What are your thoughts on joining the Thieves Guild?
That depends, my Thane, on who you are stealing from. I have heard tales of dashing rogues who steal from the rich and give to the poor. But I don't think Brynjolf is that sort of thief.
Not really.
Still, perhaps my Thane will entertain a thought from his companion before he resorts to crime.
Okay.
Until next time.
Can I ask her about food? Would you mind cooking something for me? Does she have like a funny line in regards to that?
I would love to, my dashing prince. Here you are, a home-cooked meal, and a kiss for good luck from your princess.
Aww.
Mwah.
Aw, that's sweet.
Until next time.
Alright, well. I'll see you later.
Don't think you can barter with me like one of those
Oh.
damn shopkeepers.
Hey, I just got married. Show a little respect, please. This would be like
It's
the
not true what
event
they
of
say
the
about you,
century. You think
Dark
the
Brotherhood.
Imperial City, or
Is it?
the Imperial City, you think the marriage with Victoria Vici, you thought her wedding was important? I'm the goddamn Dragonborn. I killed Alduin, the World Eater. There should be a goddamn party in my honor for this wedding. Is all I'm saying. Now, who are you? I saw you at the wedding. Who are you?
It's a new day in Windhelm. The Stormcloaks are gone, and so is their
Oh,
mistress.
wait, why did you come all the way from Windhelm?
Tools, wares, and weapons. All
Okay.
sell at fair prices.
I'll see you.
May the earth beneath your feet be always soft.
Thank you. Same to you. Soft dirt and all that.
Speak. With 3 bears down, the orc did frown, and bid the elf Goodbye. For none could know 'twas not for show, and someone had to die.
You alright there, buddy?
What do you want? Come to gawk at the Knight of Thorns? Well, here I am, for your viewing pleasure.
Look at you, drooling like a drunken fool. Where's your dignity, knight? You're making a scene. I wish to join you. Why yes, as a matter of fact, I have... now allow me to gawk in peace. Pay me no heed, I am just passing through. You're making a scene, I want to join. It's my wedding day.
Sorry, traveler, but this scene's for only the worst kind of knave. Brigands, sellsword, knights without dignity or honor. Did you know that the Countess of Shadenhall was nearly assassinated by someone in her own circle? Her most trusted knight.
You?
They say she kept him by her side at all times, like a lady clutches a rose.
Is that where this is
That
going?
is, until the knight revealed himself as a turncoat and pricked her palms with his steel.
You assaulted a countess? If you committed such a crime, how is it you still live?
Pity? Incompetence? I should have been tortured, dismembered, and then paraded around the city on a spike. But the court chose exile. Something about my years of service and the countless heroic deeds I did on behalf of the kingdom. Bah! I should have died a traitor's death. So I will have to instead settle for an ignoble life and wear my crown of thorns.
Upon your liar's head? I don't remember the rest of the lyrics off the top of my head, so unfortunately we can't sing Hurt today. Maybe another time, sir. Who were you before you became the Knight of Thorns?
Some called me the White Rose, a paladin in pure white armor, said to be painted by a soul that was the very same. I deceived all of Cyrodiil with my feats of valor. The liberation of Fort Farragut, the vanquishing of the warlocks of Quickwater Cave. All a ruse, an unctuous gambit to earn the trust of the fair countess. Then, without cause, motive, or provocation, I stabbed her in the chest. Thank the divines, the steward was there to witness the entire deed, and to provide the countess with the health potion that saved her life.
I feel like I'm not getting the
Of
full
course,
story here.
He never saw my face, but there was no mistaking my armor, and no mistaking the petals of blood that stained its chest plate.
Oh, okay, you were
So
framed.
it was obviously I who, jealous over her love of the Count, clumsily stabbed the woman I was sworn to protect.
So what you're saying is someone stole your armor in order to frame you? Do you think the steward had a hand in this plot? I'm just gonna go with the framing.
No, that's impossible. Heavy armor is so comfortable to sleep in. At no point would I remove it and allow an enterprising thief to purloin it.
And I thought Zor was sarcastic.
It matters not. The evidence points to me. There is no other explanation. The Countess chose exile to be my sentence, and so I serve.
Good sir, there's no need to hide your anguish beneath a veil of sarcasm. Roses or thorns, you don't seem like one ready to admit guilt.
You sound like the Countess. She would not accept that I was her assailant.
Aww,
Yet the evidence says otherwise.
I like the Countess now.
Yet for the integrity of the court, the Count, and the Countess, I play the role that has been cast. I play the traitor and the drunk. But your insinuations raise an interesting point. Why, perhaps I have been going about this all wrong. I should be embracing who I am, and not the monster I have been branded as. Or perhaps I'll just stay here and keep drinking, and build a new legacy as the Knight of 1,000 Beers. Now leave me be.
I mean, they look kind of tired of you.
Make it quick.
I assume you could have gone anywhere outside of Skyrim. Or outside of Cyrodiil. Why Skyrim?
Why indeed? Why not my ancestral home of Morrowind? The land which the Countess herself assured I would be escorted to.
The place that's all ash?
Seen the remnants of the
doubt
grove?
mistake
That-
that I found
well,
myself being
that was
marched
me.
up the face of the
Me and my
Gerald
sister.
Mountains, blades of snow slicing against my brow. Pure accident that my brothers and sisters, members of the Order of the Rose, ushered me down an unmarked road and tossed me into a tiny alcove. I remember chipping a tooth when I hit the ground. The dirt was frozen solid, so hard that even the wormwood refused to grow. Yet what it lacked in flora, it made up for in bones. It was an ogre's hunting grounds, and my grave.
Man, you think you know a person. Your own brothers and sisters wanted you dead. They left you for dead.
I laid in that fallow pit for an entire night, waiting for my death, welcoming it. And then, as the hour grew darkest, I thought the snow had finally begun to recede. Only when I looked up, I found it had gathered on the back of the biggest, ugliest ogre I had ever seen.
They should have at least given you a weapon. I can only assume you crawled up the ogre's backside like a piece of manure. How'd you manage to escape?
What do you want to hear? That I survived by guile, determination, bravery? Those are not the attributes of a turncoat. I survived because my executioner had second thoughts. Because even the ogres find my existence unpalatable.
Alright, enough with the self-wallowing. Enough with the self-deprecation. What happened?
The dumb brute stared at me for what seemed like hours, before letting out a grunt and chewing on the goat carcass that he dragged to the alcove. If that wasn't humiliating enough, he proceeded to tear out a chunk of flesh and offer it to me like I was a pet.
Or his son?
I lacked the courage to refuse. I sank my teeth into the meat like a feral dog and let its blood restore my vitality. Rather than face my death with honor, the next morning I used that strength to flee north, crossing the border to Skyrim.
Tell me about the night the Countess was stabbed.
Why, certainly. That night I was drinking and whoring as I usually did, after spending the morning pretending to be chaste.
Hey, don't listen to us. Get out of
Then
here.
I donned my helm, and in full armor, I stumbled over to the Countess's chambers, sending the guards on an assignment to Oblivion. I pounded the door of her bedchamber, awaking the Countess. Urgent
Oblivion?
business, I said. Is the Count with you?
How did she respond?
She told me the Count was in Bruma, discussing some sort of territorial dispute over the Countess's buttock.
Excuse me, what?
Then I told her that I had good news and bad news. The good news was she wouldn't be in pain for long. Then I gave her the bad news. When I was finished, I did what most traitors do. I defiled the corpse and then laughed maniacally before returning to my bedchamber for a nap.
You're... Wait. Yeah, he's just lying to me now. It's obviously untrue, because she survived.
Oh? And who is to say what is true and untrue? The Count Steward, that's who. Unless you are him, then it does not matter what you think.
I like this scenario where during your trial, the Count Steward went, clearly he has killed her and defiled her, and she's sitting there going, I'm right here. And he goes, see? She confirms it. Dead. Defiled. Wasn't there an order a long time ago named the Knight of Thorns?
Yes, that was an order founded by a previous count, Farwell Indaris, one of the heroes of the Oblivion crisis.
I don't know about heroes.
At one point, however, one of his descendants, who disliked the thorny sigil, decided to alter it to suit her tastes. She was fond of roses. So the Knights of the Thorn became the Order of the Roses, fighters chosen as much for their incorruptible honor as their skill in battle.
Was the change simply cosmetic? Were you still the Count's personal guard?
We swore an oath to more than the Count. We swore to uphold the very essence of virtue. We were the unsullied, the unspoiled. Every single member arose without a thorn. That is who you speak with. An elf who betrayed not just the Countess, not just her ancestors, but the very ideal of what a knight aspires to be.
And just how virtuous was this order?
We did more than obey the laws of gods and men. To fight lust, we swore an oath of celibacy. To fight indolence, we promised to be punctual. To fight passion, we refused to drink. And to fight greed, we often shared our spoils with the townsfolk. We were more than just honorable, more than mere knights. We were immaculate. Emphasis on the word were. The Knight of Thorns does not smell like a rose. He is a poisonous vine, and his touch is venom.
The real assailant is still out there. You ought to be plotting your revenge.
Right. You want me to return to Cyrodiil, embarrass the court and the order, and risk my own execution? Well, on the one hand, there's a chance I may reclaim my honor. On the other hand, I am tired, and would rather suckle on this flagon of mead.
Alright, well.
Be gone.
Thanks. I mean, hey, we could just go down to Cyril together, you know? But no, I guess he has no interest in that. Hello.
Tidings, honoured guest. My name is Beatrice. The raffish companion you see beside me goes by the name of Urzub.
Hello,
The
Urzub.
timing of your visit is rather impeccable. Urzub has just secured a fresh skeever which we hope to prepare at the top of the hour. We welcome you to join us in the consumption of this delectable feast.
I don't see the skeever you're talking about.
You jest, honoured visitor. Its visage is clearly within your range of eyesight. Although, indubitably, you were directed to this camp not by its countenance, but by its aroma, which is quite exquisite.
More like it's B.O.
However, it will do us no good without the proper refreshments to balance it.
There's something odd about your diction. Not to mention you.
As host to our most honoured guest, I humbly apologise for my oratory failings. I am but an erstwhile savage, who only recently gained the powers of articulation.
Well, where did you learn to articulate so well?
Why, dear guest, it was not more than 20 paces from where you stand.
Can you get your head out of her
If this answer
crotch? Out of her
perplexes you,
ass?
allow me to recount the
Jesus.
events that transpired. I had recently absconded from Drudat Redart with 2 bottles of refreshment on my person when I arrived at the bank of the river. Viewing the campfire in proximity of the dwarven ruin, I attempted to cross the feral current, warily dipping my toes into its mouth. The water was as cold as it was irritable, so I decided to abandon this pursuit, given that I am not well versed in the swimming craft. Yet, no sooner did I turn around that a great big dragon swept overhead, the force of which catapulted me into the water. I fought the current, kicking and gulping, and in my tantrum I managed to wedge my leg between 2 rocks.
Oof.
It was rather embarrassing, but I took some consolation in the fact that I was not the first to drown in such an inglorious manner.
You weren't alone?
No, for laying in the rock beside me was a skeletal fellow, more bones than skin and more clothes than bone. He seemed to have died from a fracture to the skull, and his lifeless body was nestled comfortably beside me. Meanwhile, Erzub, having witnessed my folly, rushed to the river to rescue me, but I could only stare at the corpse in the river. Then I noticed his right hand seemed to glimmer like a bauble, which makes sense as he was clutching one. I reached for the bauble just as Erzub reached for me. He forced me out of the river like a bear swatting a salmon. When I first spoke to Erzub, I didn't recognise the words, for there were none that I'd ever acquainted myself with before. The bauble, you see, was not a bauble, but an amulet of articulation.
Oh, that's what you're wearing! Oh, look at that! What's with the orc?
Erzub is a fine host, and it is by virtue of his hunting skill that we are blessed with this current feast. Unfortunately, he is far less loquacious than I, especially in the presence of new guests. However, our guests might find that after a bottle of refreshment and some time by the campfire, the words flow faster than the Carth itself.
What exactly do you do here?
We are troubadours, celebrators of life. We drink and feast from twilight to cockscrow, in tribute to tradition and song. Many peddlers, hunters and even forsworn will pay good coin for a warm fire, good drink and a verse from the Poetic Edda.
I don't know if the Forsworn are just gonna come by and be like, yeah, let's drink and have fun and be merry. Tell me about the Poetic Edda.
The Poetic Edda is part of the living history of Skyrim, first passed on orally and then through the written word. From the campfires of memorable days to the taverns of forgotten nights, the poetry is passed on and added to by each generation. And while as our guest, the honour of the first verse is yours, I can fulfil this role in your stead. The choice falls onto you, humble traveller. If the gods bless and the mood strikes, then by all means feel free to recite.
I don't even know how to read. Oh, Olaf, our subjugator, the one-eyed betrayer, death-dealing demon.
Oh, that was rather brilliant. Although traditionally in the Reach we prefer a slightly less grandiloquent reading of the Poetic Edda.
Oh, I apologize.
Forgive me rudeness, but if you will allow me to recite a similar verse, I would be most pleased. As our guest, you may judge its worthiness.
Okay. Were you just standing on that? You're an odd one. You're an odd one, Erzub.
O Crantius mispass, licentious betrayer, your legend is lies, lurid and false. Your conquests of the maid are con for the ages.
Wait, you just changed mine.
No polishing of spears or lifting of tails, no kneading of loaves did this courtship endure. The maid was not one of mortal form, for on sunlit days she grazed on the pasture.
No.
Crantius satisfied himself
No.
without dignity or remorse. From across the farm, the animals bayed in protest.
I'm gonna bay in
But
protest.
the mistress stood strong, House Koltor's truest protector. Her vengeance was instant, inconsolable death. And so ends the story of Crantius the Liar, a deviant and a scoundrel who we commit to the fire.
That was an interesting interpretation. Backwards, but interesting.
What is backwards or forwards depends on our orientation. As we are facing each other, it is only natural for us to have opposing opinions.
Okay. Is that a bottle of Mogo's Mead I see on your barrel?
You have a meticulous eye, traveller. Yet to answer your query, I must first tell you a story. There was once a peddler from elsewhere who sought to bring a barrel of the finest refreshments to his cousin in Skyrim. Unfortunately, those who governed the Empire frowned upon the imbibing of clean, savoury drinks. Undaunted, he sought to smuggle them inside bottles of a popular brand of mead brewed by a local man named Mogo. However, the choice proved to be his downfall, for the guards quickly confiscated his wagon.
Just guards doing their duty.
Not at all. These guards were acting in their own interests.
What happened after the guards confiscated the mead?
They drank it. They say not a throat was dry that night. From the tavern to the Jarl's longhouse, palates were washed and minds were cleansed. And from the womb of that infinite revelry came a flash of inspiration, a paroxysm of melody and song. The bottles we store at this camp represent a harking back to that day, to the true spirit of the bard's tune.
I agree Mogo's Mead would taste much better if it were Skooma. Skooma is illegal to consume. I should have you arrested for glorifying it so. Do the bards who sing Mogo's Mead know about this story?
If they are true students of history, they would. Alas, these days people confuse the erudite with the recondite and the artful with the arcane. However, it seems you are the one with the unquenchable thirst for knowledge. That is why only you can restore Mogo's Mead to its true glory.
Excuse me?
I foresee a great quest, a reckoning with you at the centre.
Excuse me? Do they still brew Mogo's Mead in Skyrim?
It is with much regret I say, doubtful. For the mead wars have claimed many in our time and times past. The great whale, Maven Blackbriar, has swallowed barrel after brewery, and still her appetite is nothing short of rapacious. However, the popularity of the song Mogo's Mead persists, and now even the whale has conceded there is profit in another brand's name.
Maven Blackbriar plans on introducing a line of Mogo's Mead?
Yes. In fact, word has travelled to our ears of a party to unveil the drink under the whale's banner. They plan to replicate the original recipe, but alas, not the recipe that inspired the song. This travesty of justice must be rectified immediately, and that is the quest I would have you endure.
So you want to turn the Blackbriar home into a skooma den? Something must be done to restore the dignity of Mogo's Mead. This is not the kind of behavior I approve of. I will pass. I mean, it does sound fun. If I say I'll pass, is she just gonna yell at me and be like, how dare you? Come on, we have to do this.
So the champion denies his destiny and dooms the world to darkness. I do hope you reconsider.
Okay, so then she's just like, alright, come back.
How about a refreshment?
Oh, then we just have to go through the entire dialogue again to get back to it, not have you reconsidered.
You have a meticulous eye, traveller. Yet to answer your query, I must first tell you a story. There was once a peddler from elsewhere who sought to bring a barrel of the finest refreshments to his cousin in Skyrim. Unfortunately, those who governed the Empire frowned upon the imbibing of clean, savoury drinks. Undaunted, he sought to smuggle them inside bottles of a popular brand of mead, brewed by a local man named Mogo. However, the choice proved to be not at all. And from the bottles we store at this camp represent a harking back. If they, however, are for it is. However, yes, they plan to replicate this travesty of justice must be rectified immediately, and that is the quest I would have you endure.
Alright, it sounds fun.
What we're doing is curing the masses of their ignorance. You will lift the fog that covers their minds through the imbibing of clean refreshment.
Clean.
Thus
Skooma.
your task is simple, for you need only replace the bottles. The refreshment will handle the rest. Here, a case of the finest Mogo's mead, specially brewed for added clarity. Now go, henceforth to Blackbriar Meadery. Go and champion the cause of our enlightenment. Let your mind go beyond
Like
what
B
should
said,
be thought.
we're having
You will
rats for
see what
dinner.
can't be thought.
You in or out?
I don't see any rats.
Sometimes you gotta squint real hard. Other times they camouflage themselves by turning the color of a bush. Them skeevers can be real sneaky. Sometimes it'll take 2 or maybe 3 bottles before you spot one. But they're there. What's with that look? You think I'm mad or something? To the void with you, then.
It's funny because it's Gore's voice actor. Like, it's the same voice actor for Urzub and Gore. And he's still talking about food. So these refreshments B keeps referring to.
Skooma. Poison, basically. Although that doesn't make it much different from the kind they serve at the inn. Not that they should serve it. Skooma's got a little more bite than mead or ale. By Malakath, it'll take a chunk of your mind and your coin purse if you aren't careful. But for some folks, it doesn't do either. Just look at me. I can put half a dozen bottles down and not have the urge for another. I must have been a fur walker in my past life. Same with B. They say Skooma will make you dumber than a mud crab. Wouldn't know it by listening to her. Won't stop using all them fancy words.
Oh. True, I get a headache just listening to her, and she goes, I heard that. It's not her accent, but...
Hey, watch your mouth. That's my dealer you're talking about. So either ease up or get out.
Where did all the skooma come from?
That's something I've been wondering myself. Seeing as we only started with but 2 bottles. Except now, we got enough to fill a brewery. And I have no idea where it all came from. I asked B, and she says it was a gift from the dwarves. So, seeing as we're sitting on top of this ruin, I thought it might have something to do with that dwarven box over there. But the other day I put a bottle and a few pieces of gold in there, just to see what would happen. And nothing. My guess is she has a separate stash lying around here, but hasn't told me where. She probably thinks I'd kill her if I knew the location.
Can I find it?
Smart girl.
Wait, can I find it now? Anything you want to ask me?
Well, now that you mention it, there is. Do you by chance know magic? As in fire spells and things like that?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Whenever I got off the Skooma, either 'cause there weren't none or my supplier never showed up, I'd get real tense. I'd be in the mine, and my teeth would start chattering louder than the pickaxes. Then there was the sweat, like taking a bath inside your clothes. I figured I was about to lose my mind if I didn't find something to fill the void. One night, I told Bagrack I'm going out into the woods to gather my thoughts. She tells me, gathering thoughts, or just the one? I guess she knew what I'd been up to. Either way, she lets me out of the stronghold, and I just started walking.
If she knew about your habit, why didn't Bagrack tell the chief?
Good question. Maybe she didn't care. Or maybe she didn't know after all. Never asked her what she meant by the one. Even I'm not that stupid. Fine.
Well,
speak.
I mean, I could just hear about his
Alright
life
then.
story. Can I find the skooma? Is it gonna be hidden somewhere stupid? I don't know. Mogo's Mead. Oh, the Journal of Lafquin Evanhart. I'll take that. I've been looking for these. Not constantly, not all the time, but...
Tidings to you, friend.
Wait, is that... Oh, she's got more. Oh, look, there it is. She's just tucked it under the dirt. Alright. I'm gonna take one Mogo's Mead for myself. Now, if I look at Mogo's Mead... Yeah, it's under Potions, restore 25 stamina. Stamina regenerates 30% slower for 30 seconds. And if I take a skooma... Okay, so... It still is similar to skooma. It is skooma with added benefits. Good to know.